2001, when the Taliban government was overthrown by the international forces, we were really hoped that the situation might change for the Afghan people with the establishment of rule of law, with respect to the women's right and gender equality in the all life aspects of Afghanistan. But unfortunately, the situation hasn't changed for the big proportion of the population, because women are still suffering from the domestic violence, women are suffering still from the lack of security, women are still being kidnapped, raped and abducted by the illegal armed groups. So how the situation we can say that it has been changed? The attention and focuses have gone to the security, to the poppy eradication. They were paying much more attention on those areas, and actually they forgot about another case, which is the women, half of the population of Afghanistan.
At Faizabad Hospital in Afghanistan's northeastern province of Badakhshan, staff at the maternity unit swing into action for an all too familiar case. 25-year-old Khair Misa has arrived from her village 2 hours' drive away in excruciating pain. Years of experience with late pregnancy complications tell the medical staff attending Khair that they're fighting as much for her survival as for her baby's. This is the only medical centre in Badakhshan capable of providing comprehensive obstetric care for around 180,000 women of childbearing age. And Khair's case is a typical example of a woman out of reach of medical help when complications first surface, who arrives at hospital when it's too late for doctors to do much for her baby. It's important to get it out of the womb as quickly as possible. Khair survives, the baby doesn't. Its tiny, misshapen form, the latest addition to the province's tally of what health experts maintain are entirely preventable deaths. If she hadn't made it to qualified help in time, she too would almost certainly have died from obstructed labour. In their effort to bring new life into this austere province, expectant women face a greater chance of losing their own lives than any other mother on the planet. For every 100,000 babies born alive here, 6,500 of their mothers will die in the process. It's the highest rate of maternal mortality in the world. The figures were last measured 5 years ago, and experts acknowledge they may have gone down slightly since. But they say, wherever the numbers stand, they still speak of huge gaps in healthcare for women, more than 5 years after Afghanistan emerged from so many years of conflict.
Women in Badakhshan are chronically malnourished, and therefore their growth is reduced. So they're small women to start with. They have a small body to give birth to a baby. Secondly, women get married in Afghanistan and in remote, more conservative areas like Badakhshan especially, at very young ages.
Badakhshan is singled out by a string of misfortunes. This is a remote part of Afghanistan, the only one of 34 provinces that the Taliban failed to conquer in their sweep across the country in the 1990s. It's served by few roads and even fewer basic health centres. More than likely, transport to whatever help is available is a donkey. The vast majority of women give birth in their homes. During winter, many parts of the province are cut off for 6 or 7 months. But the reasons for the excessive maternal mortality rate go deeper, into cultural values, which place the welfare of men and boys far above that of women and girls. Dr. Hajira Zia Baharistani is a leading gynecologist. She had high hopes that the country's parlous medical facilities would improve noticeably with the removal of the Taliban. It's not the lack of equipment or even supplies, although they are basic. It's the space. Women who've just delivered recover to a bed, their babies nestling beside them. Electricity supplies haven't been fully functioning in years, and so midwives and doctors are forced to perform difficult deliveries in semi-darkness.
ما بسیار آرزو داشتم که وقتی که افغانستان آرامی شود، وقتی که در افغانستان دیگه جنگ نباشه، آرزو داشتم که برای صحت مادرها توجهی بسیار خاص شود. و وفیات مادرها بسیار پایان بیاید، به خاطر که بلندترین وفیات مادرها در جهان افغانستان داره و از بدخشان بیخی یک تراژدی است، یک فاجعه است. و طبیعی است که یک کشور جنگ زده است، 23 سال جنگ تمام زیربنای افغانستان تخریب کرده بود. ترمیم کردن بسیار زیاد یک وقت میخواه و بسیار یک حوصله‌مندی و داشتن یک نیروی کافی با تجربه کاری میخواه.
The recent surge in opium production in Afghanistan and the export of heroin to addicts in the West has been well documented. Less has been seen of rising drug abuse by Afghans. Many people living far from clinical centres still see opium as a medicine for any ailment, for themselves and for their children. Mohammadin offers his 5 children a meagre meal of bread and tea. He looks after them by himself after his wife died hours after giving birth to their 6th child at their home in a mountain village. He says she was 55 years old and was hemorrhaging badly. Instead of taking her to a medical centre, he heeded the advice of neighbours and left it until the morning. Too late. She bled to death. He was forced to give the baby away to another villager, saying he wasn't able to look after it.
نمه قدر تکلیف دارم برای خانمون که سه میروان میرم یک سیاست از زاره میکنم رشوت میدم سه میروان یا 20 یا 30 یا 10 سه میروان ریزاش میکنم میام همون خمیرم میکنه سه همونجا پختمون میکنم میخواد براش بدر میراست اون دروازه که میداری سه های ده منظم میگن های ده گشنه شدم نان خیلی بود میدم نبود سه میروان نم واقع است دیگه گریه است سه میروان چیزی به مادرش دیگه مشکل خدا سه میروان.
During the day, Mohammadin sets his children to light tasks, shifting small stones to build a wall. He can't leave to work in a local flour mill because there's no one to look after the younger ones. His loss reveals the impact that the death of a mother has not just on a family, but on a small community governed by strong belief in family unity.
میگم سه میروان در اون وقت فوتش هم جگرخون بودی ولی دیگه در کس در قسم نیست. همه کس دیگه مقصد در قصه کسی نیست. ایت راویه ندارم سوی ما که سه میروان همه قومی ما که سه میروان بگه خیلی همی به سرپرست سو سه میروان بیست که همی کمک برای همی سه میروان. این مقصد تماثر کسی نمیکنه و سه میروانو مقصد همو قدر تم نمیکنه.
Mohammadin's wife might well have benefited from advice here, at a family planning clinic in Badakhshan's main hospital. The women here are in a tiny minority. The United Nations Children's Fund says 97% of women questioned in a recent survey said they weren't using any form of contraceptive. The average fertility rate in Afghanistan is 7 children, but many women can expect to go through up to 10, perhaps 13 pregnancies during their childbearing years. Although contraception is widely frowned upon, many women are waking up to its obvious advantages, not least because it gives their bodies a chance to recover from childbirth, and fewer children means fewer mouths to feed. There's a faint air of secrecy about this clinic. The function and virtues of condoms are discussed along with the contraceptive pill, but women here prefer other means of birth control, a jab, undetectable by husbands, administered every 3 months.